What's going on? Ryan Troy back with another video for you today, and we have Mark Cruz from Nikon. How you doing?
Awesome, awesome. WPPI 2025, let's go.
It's always great when we have Mark on the channel. Now, last year, once WPPI was ending for me, Nikon took the world by storm with their...
Good timing, right?
Right, with their acquisition of RED. Now, as you all know, RED is a very respectable cinema brand. Can you talk to us about how big this is for Nikon and the possibilities of, us now, or you guys now owning RED, and what it can bring to Nikon?
I love the fact that you're us. You said us.
That's right.
You're part of the fam, right?
That's right.
So, like 12 months ago, we announced that we acquired RED. Guess what? Just a few weeks ago, we announced our first RED camera with a Z mount. It is now ready to go with the new 28 to 135 power zoom that we just announced. We now have a new line, Z6iii, and that is ready to go. You can even go on RED's website right now and get a kit for $10,000 with the lens, with the new Komodo, with the Z mount native to our lenses, as well as some other accessories, handle, battery, and you're ready to go. Several different kits they have there. The great thing about this collaboration, it's going to improve both sides. Their autofocus, we are collabing with RED on our Z cameras now. Over this past year, we got 4 customized LUTs from RED that you can put in any of our cameras that do N-Log. Even cameras like the Z50ii, a DX camera, can use RED LUTs in here now, as long as it can do N-Log. It can be part of that Nikon workflow. So for wedding photographers and wedding videographers and filmmakers, we just finished a wedding filmmaker workshop here in Vegas a couple of weeks ago. It's really exciting time because not only do we have the collaboration with the RED, but our Z cameras and lenses are now really fleshing out. We now have a complement of a full trio of 1.2 lenses in the system right now. We just came out with a 35mm 1.2 to go with the 50, 85, and the Plena 1.8. So we have this luxurious set of wide aperture lenses only for the Z mount that you can not only use on Z8s, Z6iiis, Z9s, but also on a Komodo or even a Raptor.
Now, speaking of that, which was a lot, it made me think of something when you brought up the 1.2s, and everybody was worried at first with the 1.4s that was coming out because they saw the 35,
Yeah.
and they finally got the 35 1.2. But what I will say is I really appreciate the 1.4s because what it really does for us is it lets us not have to go that third-party route when it comes to lenses. We get to stay in-house with native lenses with a 1.4 if we want to go that way, or if you have the money, then you could go with the 1.2. But let's go to the next topic, which will be the Z6 line, right?
Yes.
Now, this is one of the most popular lines, I feel, because of how affordable it is and the great video and photo capabilities. Now, with this, the Z6iii that also released last year, you guys was able to cram so much into it while also keeping the cost down.
Yeah.
So I want to know, just like, can you speak about the success of that? Like, it's the only one with the partial stack sensor. That's innovative.
I tell you, if you're doing weddings, I think the best offering we have right now from Nikon is a Z6iii. Why? Because it has the 24.5 megapixel count. For a lot of people that shoot weddings, 1,000 photos in one day, they want a more reasonable megapixel count, so smaller file sizes, but it also gives you the full electronic shutter because it has that partially stacked sensor. So what that means is that unlike the predecessor, the Z6 II, you no longer have to use a mechanical shutter, especially in those wedding ceremonies where you really want to be discreet and quiet. You can shoot fully electronic shutter without any distortion, almost like a Z8, but with a lower price point, under $2,500 for a body. But also it's smaller, it has a fully articulating screen to the side. It's great for video because it does internal RAW recording as well at 6K. And it does bursts of, up to 20 frames per second RAW, so it gives you everything. Plus you have dual card slots with an SD card, which is really good for a lot of people that like that combination of SD and CF Express.
Yes. And honestly, when it came to that, I really feel like Nikon listens, because I know some people with the Z9 was like 2 CF Express or something like that. They wanted the SD. And with the Z8, we have that. With the Z6iii, we have that, which I think is great.
Can I tell you one thing that the Z6 Z3 does better than the Z8 and the Z9?
I want to hear this.
The viewfinder. We actually put a brighter viewfinder in the Z6iii at 4,000 nits. Z8 and Z9 is already brighter than sunlight at 3,000 nits. With the Z6iii, imagine shooting high noon at the wedding after typically the church ceremony is high noon, and you get a period in between where you do reception, and you have to go outside and you have to compete with the sun. Shooting an optical viewfinder or any electronic viewfinder that is a lesser grade, like 1,000 nits and stuff like that, you can't really compete with the sun. With this, especially when you're shooting with these bright sunlight, you can see what you're doing, the colors, the shades of shadows and midtones clearly, and you can make proper decisions when you're outside and not have to rely on post-production afterwards. And that's the benefit of the Z6iii's 4,000 nit. I think it's the only one on the market that has 4,000 nits.
Now, when it comes to a lot of the things Nikon has been doing recently throughout the years, they have touched every single market. You have the RED with the cinema, you have the Z9, the Z8, the Z6iii, all of that. Last year, you guys also announced or released the 50 Mark II, right?
Oh, yes.
Now, me personally, I really love the Z30. It said creative so much because of the lack of the viewfinder, right? But with this camera, they was able to put the new technology into it. Amazing camera, basically. Do you guys think that in the future you'll be doing more things for the creators, kind of sort of like that Z30 was? Because that was really marketed for creators.
The difference now is that we have X-Speed 7 in the Z52. So basically any camera that has X-Speed 7, if you look at the specs, it takes it up to another level. So the the Z30 at the time was using X-Speed 6 technology. This uses X-Speed 7. You can do so much more. So that's, they're like, you can list 20 things that the previous generation couldn't do on paper. So that's really the thing that for creators, like I'm taking this around. This is my camera for the week. I'm taking around a 12 to 28 power zoom, and I have a 24 millimeter 1.7 in my bag. I love that kit because it's small, it's light, and it performs high. Right. So I think in terms of the creators that want a smaller system, that want, articulating screen, that want a wide angle.
Speak about that, because the other one flipped down.
Yes,
this one flipped to the side.
So we're realizing that people need this for content creation. We have timers built into here. So we have a whole nother interface when it faces forward. Right. So the interface is designed for you to be operating it at the front of the camera. Okay. And plus we have a bona fide wide angle lens for the DX format. And that's the 12 to 28. So it really makes the vlogging and content creation and small format reasonable, because not only is the body small, but the lens is small. Right.
So this is about it, but before we end, I just want to know, do you guys have anything that you may want to announce or anything in the future that you want to speak about?
Yeah, so I mean, keep on our YouTube channel, we're always announcing things. Really the big announcement that just happened was that 28 to 135 f4 consistent power zoom. So that's the big thing. That was announced at the same time as the RED cameras. But we also announced, this probably flew under the radar, a bunch of firmware updates, including one for the Z8 and the Z9 and the Z6iii that have now shutter angle built into the cameras. Nice. So for videographers that are used to working with shutter angle, you can now get that in either the Z8, Z6iii, and as well as the Z9.
Nice. Once again, it was nice. Look forward to next year when we do this interview again.